Okay, I hope everyone picked up an agenda packet out front. We're going to need to add one item to the agenda that come in late today. Superior Court Judge Thompson brought over an agreement that needs to be signed so they can FedEx this back to Atlanta tomorrow. So if you'll take on the right before the adjournment and right after the reports, and we'll add in here sub-grant award from the state of Georgia. We'll add that to our last item on our agenda, so we'll get that handled tonight. Okay, you should have a copy of the minutes from the last meeting that was held back on June the 8th. So any of y'all that were here, does anybody see any problems or corrections or anything to those minutes that we need to make note of? Hearing none, I'll move forward in signing these minutes as being accepted tonight. Okay. Now at this time, we'll have a public hearing. The first one is the rezone application. Let's see here, let me look here. Okay. It says the following rezone application will be heard for the second public hearing, the first being June the 15th at the planning meeting. We have two here, but one of these, the Planning Commission recommended that it be tabled until the next monthly meeting, which was a request to change the zoning from C1 to R2 and turn into a existing building into a multifamily dwelling on Lafette Road. So that one, we'll continue to table that and send that back to the Planning Commission. So I will take and also sign that as that we table that in this meeting here tonight. We'll let that go back through that process. Item 2 is map and parcel 0329-2-032, 18 Cedar Grove Road. Request to change zoning from C1 commercial to R2 residential to use existing house on the property as a residence. Planning Commission's recommendation was to approve this. Is anyone here that'd like to speak in opposition of this request? Okay, hearing none, is there anyone here willing or wanting to speak in favor of this request? Is this y'all's request? Okay. Okay. Do you got anything that you'd like to add to this?
Well, yes.
Sure, that's fine.
Yes, sir. We purchased it about 18 years ago. It was the Chevy store, and previously, when it was built in the early 50s, it was a 2-bedroom house. That's where all the buildings around there. And so I turned it into a little antique shop, and I had it open about 5 or 6 years, and then I moved my shop into the Rossville area. And I let it sit, and then I had it painted and a new roof put on, and then I turned it over to 2 different realtors, and they didn't show it one time, so that was a disappointment. So recently, I hired my fiance to redo a lot of the interior, and we had it painted outside and new doors, and we put a lot of money into it. And the people that stopped by, which were very many, they wanted it as a home. And so we decided to see if there would be a variance on it where it could go either commercial or residential or just residential. And there's a little couple at my church getting married in the fall, and they would like to purchase it for their home. So I would love it to be a little home.
Okay.
And that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So actually, Christie, this is not a variance, this is actually a zoning change, correct? So it'd be a complete rezoning
Okay.
over to a residential, which would be more favorable of what you're looking and asking for. Okay, we do have representation here from the Planning and Zoning Commission. You got anything you'd like to add? Have you had any phone calls or?
No phone calls, but the reason the planning commission decided to approve the rezone was because the lots are so small that if there was anything commercial, they'd have to buy several of the lots to do anything. And after a year, it can be requested to be rezoned back, and the planning commission said they would not have a problem rezoning it back to commercial if that come up.
Okay. All right. So, hearing no opposition to this tonight and hearing no phone calls to the planning office or any other concerns, no one has submitted any letters or additional comments on this, so we'll go ahead and approve this tonight as a final decision as it has been submitted.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Glad to be helpful. Okay.
We need to do from here,
What do they need to do with y'all from this point?
take down the yellow signs.
Take down the
Put it back on the market as residential.
Thank you, folks.
Yes, thank
Thank
y'all.
y'all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay, we'll open back under our regular scheduled meeting. We do have a consideration of a temporary malt beverage and wine license to the Chattanooga Rugby Club. The event to be held at 2035 Old Mill Springs Road, Lafayette, Georgia. This permit is again, a temporary license permit where they can sell malt beverages and wines, July the 28th through July the 29th. So we'll go ahead and move forward and approve this permit. We did check through emergency services. They've had this event many times in years past. There's been no complaints, and there's been no incidents where the emergency services had to respond on anything negative. And so it looks like a pretty straightforward request. Okay, we do have some documents here that we need to sign tonight. We have to replace the trustee from the former sole commissioner B.B. Haskell and former Walker County clerk Bridget Garrett on the Georgia Fund 1 bank account. And we're adding Commissioner Shannon Whitfield and Walker County clerk Rebecca Wooden. What this is the fund account that is utilized to that we use to deposit and manage all of the splosh money that comes in. That we have to accrue that, and so I needed to publicly sign these documents that we would be removing former Commissioner Haskell and former clerk Bridget Garrett and adding myself as commissioner and Rebecca Wooden to this account. So, let's see here. This also has to be notarized tonight, so Ms. Charlene's here to do the notary. So I have signature here. that one. We also have another agreement for an ACH with the Bank of Lafayette, where we have some name changes, where our account specialist Ida left us and went to another employment up north, and we're replacing her name with payroll clerk Tabitha Carthel and human resource director Charlene Robertson to be authorized to handle the ACH transactions, mostly that is done for our new process of direct deposit of payroll. So since Ida's no longer with us, we needed to add 2 new authorized users to this account. Make sure everybody gets paid. Okay, that one does not require a notary. Well, good. Okay.
I laid it right there.
All right, thank you.
Still got the-
Okay, we've got a new report that we're gonna start providing y'all on a monthly basis. This is some data that we've been tracking internally. We wanted to share this with all the citizens across the county and give everybody a monthly update. So we'll walk through this. This talks about our animal shelter and our focus on trying to reduce our euthanasia rate and increase our adoption and rescue and return to owners. So we're showing the most 2 recent months. We have data back to January, and that does reflect into the year-to-date numbers. But just to try to get this all on one page and capture everything, you can see the number of dogs and cats in April and May that was rescued or adopted or returned to owners. It's quite interesting when you start looking at the year-to-date totals for 2016, and those are the annual totals for 12 months. So there was 817 dogs adopted and 195 cats. Our animal shelter has already been successful this year in 2017 of adopting or rescuing back to the owners 377 dogs and 175 cats. So that's outstanding. That's within 20 cats of what was returned to owner or rescued all of last year. As far as euthanizing, last year there's 436 dogs, 630 cats. This year there's only been 94 dogs and 50 cats. So we're really making positive progress going forward with our new approach and trying to save as many animals as we possibly can, and also spay and neutering all the animals that go out to the new adopted families. So this is an area that we have a lot of requests for this data, so we wanted to make this data and information public and be able to demonstrate to the public how important this is and a focus that it is to this administration, and the great work and progress that Allison and her team is making at the animal shelter to move this in the right direction. So we will continue to monitor this progress. Code enforcements. In April, there was 411 that were in compliance that were inspected. In May, 360 that was in compliance. Violations for April, there was 219. In May, there was 318. So it's very interesting that we did over 300 in May, and all of 2016, there was only 221 violations that were documented, and already year to date, we have documented 648 violations due to code enforcement. So we're already 3 times the number of code violations where a citation has been written versus last year to date at only 221. In compliance for the year, 771. So we are finding a lot of residents and properties that have been in compliance, and so we log those into our database and track those as well. So we have a record that we've done an inspection and everything's in good order. Some of the exciting numbers on our fire department, you'll see their total responses and then the breakout of how many of those total responses was responded by the QRVs. So in April, there was 414 total responses, and out of that 414, 310 of those were from the new QRV concept. And then in May, we had 413 total responses, and the QRV responded to 324 of those. So last year they didn't have the QRVs, but already this year to date that we have data for, we responded to 634 QRV responses, which is more efficient, it's cost savings. Most of those are medical related or medical assist. So that lines up in our data that we were seeing that 75–85% of all of the calls that our fire department is receiving are non-fire related. There's something other than an actual fire. And so with this concept, we're able to send out 2 first responders instead of sending out a large truck with 4 first responders. So this way we keep 2 of the first responders at the full-time station at the fire station with the fire truck, where they can go in later, if need be, answer another call, whether it be medical or fire related or accident related. And so this way it better utilizes our staff. We're not sending and emptying the fire station all at one time, and we're using more practical response methods and better vehicles to accomplish the goal. Next item is the litter pickup. This shows the number of pounds of trash and the number of tires that's been picked up. April, there was 9,480 pounds of trash picked up off the sides of the road. In May, there was 14,920 pounds picked off the side of the road, so we made a significant increase there in May. There was no data for 2016. Year to date in 2017, we've picked up over 60,680 pounds of trash off the side of the road. So that's over 30 tons of trash that's been picked up off of just the county roads. So we're making great progress there, and 428 tires have been picked up. So we're trying to get as many tires off the side of the roads, because when the mowers hit them, sometimes they tear up our bush hog mowers, and also they're a haven for breeding of mosquitoes. So the more of the tires we can get off the sides of the roads, the better. Mountain Cove Farms, you'll see our total bookings for overnight stays in April. Well, I guess this be total bookings, would be overnight stays and or planned events. This year we've had 31 in April, compared to last year in April there was only 16. May was 15 this year and only 9 last year. So we've just about doubled the number of bookings at Mountain Cove Farm. So all of last year in 2016 there was 162 bookings. January through May there was only 44 last year. And this year, year to date, we've already had 79 bookings. So that's a great increase in utilization and income for Mountain Cove Farms. It's amazing what happens when people will answer the phone. Public relations, Joe's done an outstanding job in capturing the data and the work associated with our media impressions, where we had in April 45 stories. In May there was 57 stories. Also Facebook likes increased in May from 300 up an additional 302 and an additional 305 in May. Facebook followers in April we had an increase by 305, and in May an increase of 296. Facebook posts, Joe made 53 posts in April and 63 in May. So when you look at the year-to-date totals, there was no data from last year. There wasn't an official county Facebook page up until this year. But we have 224 media stories, 2,700 Facebook likes, 2,752 followers with 258 posts. So Joe's put a lot of information out there. When you look at our website visits are up. All of last year, there was 173,745 visits to unique pages to our website. Already this year, we have exceeded that year to date with 188,665 visits to our website. So getting up-to-date information, fresh content, posting the minutes and the things from our meetings and giving more informed information to the citizens has increased our visits to our website just unbelievably. We've already passed last year. That's pretty impressive. So hopefully that'll be some good data that y'all will enjoy looking at and seeing the progress that the staff is making each month. And we'll present that once a month and give everybody an update. Any questions on that? Yes.
I have been asked about the tire amnesty date. Do you know anything about that?
We have not got that finalized or in place yet. It's something we still want to get done.
I don't know why people call me. Yeah, but they do.
All right, any other questions or comments on that report? Okay, the last item on our agenda that we added was this, what they call a sub-grant award. This award is federal funds that's been awarded to Walker County in conjunction with the Office of the Governor Criminal Justice Coordinating Council for the state of Georgia for Accountability Court. This is a new program to Walker County. It's been done across the state, but the Lookout Mountain Judicial Circuit, this is the first time they have participated in this program. This grant will run from July 1, 2017 through June the 30th of 2018. And this, let's see here. This award will be to run the drug court, which will be headed up by Superior Court Judge Thompson. People that are in trouble with the law for drug charges, that are adults that have felony drug charges, will have the ability to be selected for this program. This is an alternative to incarceration in state prisons to try to reduce the prison population and also try to get people back on the right path and keep them in the marketplace where they can work and care for their family and try to get over their drug problems. This grant is 100% funded at $148,166. The county will be providing office space of a couple of offices for the coordinators and staff that they'll have for this. And then we will also be managing the grant as far as the expenditures and the reimbursement from the government. After the expenses are validated, they'll reimburse us for the grant up to this $148,166. On the last page, it has a breakout of the personnel. They'll have a program coordinator, which will include the benefits, and then they'll have some contract services of counselors and law enforcement surveillance, lab tech screening, drug testing supplies. The people in this program will have to go before Judge Thompson every week. They will have to make a court appearance every single week. And I believe they have to take a drug test also every week. And so this will cover the expenses of that monitoring and conducting those tests. And also there's some money in here for some training for the coordinator and transportation expense. So again, the grant total is $148,166. So I will sign this that we are accepting to manage yet another state grant.
Contract employee or contract laborer,
Contract employer,
the administrator of the grant is gonna be a contract employee or employee of the county.
I'm not sure. We'll need to get a definite answer on that. I'm not sure the answer to that. Good question. Any other questions or comments on this grant? All right, there's about a dozen places here I have to initial. $15 to be exact. Okay, that takes care of that. So that concludes our regular scheduled meeting, so I'll adjourn the official meeting at this time, and then we'll open the floor to any public discussion or public comment. Anybody have anything to add or say? All right. Hearing none, we'll stand adjourned at 7 o'clock sharp. Appreciate y'all coming.
That was pretty close.
Yeah.